say Prince Harry has failed in his bid to meet King Charles in September as he continues to make a veiled threat against the royal family.
We're hearing now that Harry's offered to actually share his official diary engagements with the palace in a bid to reduce those clashes we've seen so many times over the years. All right, it's a complex saga. How useful is this offer from Harry? Will it have an impact on the palace?
That he will release another autobiography. You might call this Spare 2.0, or as I've branded it, Spare Us, if the royal family doesn't give in to his demands for reconciliation. Now, of course, we've seen the pressure that the mainstream media is heaping.
Prince Harry came crawling back, and King Charles, oh, he slammed that door right in his face. No meeting, no money, no mercy. And Meghan, she's fuming so loudly you could probably hear her all the way from Montecito to Buckingham Palace. The royal family has officially stopped playing their little reconciliation game. Harry must have thought September would be his grand moment, the time to patch things up. But reality, it hit him like a royal-sized slap. Words out that King Charles III flat out rejected Harry's request for a one-on-one during his upcoming UK trip. The official excuse? Scheduling conflicts. Please, we all know this isn't about timing. This is about Charles being done. And I mean done in every possible way. Emotionally, spiritually, politically, with Harry's never-ending game of royal chaos. Ever since Spare exploded onto bookshelves like a literary grenade, Charles has endured it all. The humiliation, the international awkwardness, and watching the monarchy's image take hit after hit, thanks to Harry's interviews, podcasts, and primetime drama. And now Harry, the self-exiled Duke of Dysfunction, wants a cozy father-son chat, not this time.
That was worth $100 million for them. A lot of their supposed shows that they produced did extremely badly.
While King Charles may have delivered the official rejection, the real fireworks, oh, they erupted 5,000 miles away in Montecito. Meghan Markle did not take the news well. In fact, furious doesn't even scratch the surface. According to someone close to the family, Meghan couldn't believe Harry didn't push harder, didn't play dirtier, and yes, didn't dangle Archie and Lilibet as emotional bait. To Meghan, this wasn't just a missed meeting. This was a missed opportunity. And let's be honest, behind all that healing and bridge-building talk, there's something very tangible at stake. Money. Montecito doesn't pay for itself. That $14 million mansion with its 16 bathrooms, the private security detail, elite schools, the stylists, the PR army, the wellness gurus, it all has a price tag.
To be an actor or anything like that. No, he just has got to have money. I mean, he's got Meghan, who would be screaming for money if they're still together. And actually, he's got to live, this house, huge house with 16 bathrooms. And
after the Spotify disaster and Netflix starting to wobble, Meghan saw this meeting as a lifeline, a chance to secure favor, maybe even financial backing. At the very least, it could have been PR gold. But now, that door's slammed shut. And Meghan isn't just angry, she's panicked. Her fury is more than personal, it's calculated. She knows that without royal access, the Sussex brand loses its shine. No titles, no royal events, no photo ops with royal kids in the headlines. All of that means less influence, less media, and fewer checks coming in.
School in September, or maybe they just have to get money because he doesn't want Meghan to have a lowly standard of living. It's got to be very high, and he wants to have money. He wants to have money.
So what's Meghan's next move? Insiders are whispering that she might just take matters into her own hands. Think carefully timed interviews, a cryptic podcast return, maybe even a diary bombshell. Whatever it is, silence isn't on her agenda. Because if Charles thought he was closing a chapter, Meghan's already flipping the page to start another one. Angela Levin, the royal biographer who's basically made a career out of decoding Windsor drama, summed it up perfectly when she was asked why Harry suddenly wanted this face-to-face with the father he's accused of neglect, racism, and emotional abandonment. She didn't hesitate. It's the money. Brutal, honest, and frankly, hard to argue with.
This September meeting must not happen, in my view. The peace talks have failed, let's be honest, because he leaked all of the information.
The Spotify deal? Dead after one season and a handful of snoozy interviews. Netflix? Teetering. Sure, their docuseries grabbed attention for a hot second, but it didn't exactly age like The Crown. Meghan's children's show, axed before it even aired. Harry's polo documentary, mocked off the field. Hollywood's honeymoon with the Sussexes is definitely over. Levin didn't just throw shade, she laid it all out. Harry, stripped of his royal role and family funds, is now scrambling for relevance. He doesn't have a trade, a business, or any real world career, she quipped. All he's known is royal life, and he gave that up with no backup plan.
That he has enough material for spare .0. He revealed that he has evidence that will shock the public as it was so damaging. Do we think that Harry will resort to blackmailing his family? Because he has certainly been dropping some threats.
As for Meghan, she married into the glitz, styled herself as the wronged Duchess, and built her brand on it. But lately, even the friendliest media outlets are starting to raise eyebrows. Levin believes Meghan is pushing hardest for reconciliation. Not because she's after closure, but because the royal connection is essential to keeping their brand afloat. Their lifestyle, the mansion, the jets, the security, it all runs on money. And when the cash dries up, so does the image. Being royal adjacent isn't just family, it's their business model. And right now, that business is shaky. Levin left everyone with a warning. If they don't get what they want soon, they'll go nuclear.
No, he's actually, you don't stop two children going to see their grandfather or an older
And let's be real, she's probably right. After the chaos of Spare, it looks like Harry's gearing up for another explosion. And this time, there's no pretending to be polite. The whispers flying around both Montecito and Windsor point to one possibility that's chilling the palace: Spare 2.0. Staffers are already jokingly calling it Spare Us.
The 24/7, but it's cruel not to let him see them. All you get is the back.
Sources say the talk of a second memoir isn't just empty threats. Harry's been jotting notes, gathering stories, and contacting old friends, even people he left out of the first book. This one, they say, could make Spare look like a bedtime story. And here's the kicker: it's not about therapy anymore. It's leverage. Insiders claim Harry's dangling the book like a weapon. Give me a meeting, give me recognition, give me money, or I'll spill more. It's royal blackmail. Except the hostage is the monarchy's reputation.
That Harry's offered to actually share his official diary engagements with the palace in a bid to reduce those clashes we've seen so many times over the years. All right, it's a complex saga. How useful is this offer from Harry? Will it have an impact on the palace?
What else could he possibly reveal? Oh, allegedly plenty. Rumor has it the next chapter could spill about Charles's strained marriage to Diana, royal financial secrets, and even some not-so-flattering accounts of the late Queen's final days. Palace aides are calling it PR blackmail. Others, a last warning shot before all-out war. But everyone agrees on one thing: this is deliberate. Harry isn't dropping hints. He's swinging a sword. And Meghan? Insiders say she's watching carefully, waiting to see if the threat pays off before deciding whether she'll add her own chapters. If Spare 2.0 lands, her fingerprints will be all over it. Maybe as co-author, maybe just as the ghost behind the ghostwriter.
That he will release another autobiography. You might call this Spare 2.0, or as I've branded it, Spare Us, if the royal family doesn't give in to his demands for reconciliation. Now, of course, we've seen the pressure that the mainstream media is heaping on.
The royals aren't just up against estranged family members anymore. They're dealing with brand owners, media-savvy operators who know drama sells. And the more the crown says no, the more valuable a yes becomes to publishers and streaming giants. If you think the feud was already tangled, buckle up. Harry's just played one of the dirtiest cards he's got.
That was worth $100 million for them. A lot of their supposed shows that they produced did extremely badly.
Archie and Lilibet, once the sweet symbols of hope for reconciliation, are now reportedly pawns in what palace insiders call the highest form of emotional blackmail. The palace has invited the children to visit, but Harry said it loud and clear: no 24/7 government-funded security, no kids.
All sorts of little things that they've kept. And Meghan's kept a very careful diary, don't forget, so she would...
Let that sink in. The King of England has barely spent any time with his youngest grandchildren. Lilibet was introduced under tense, camera-free conditions. Archie? He hardly knows the royal side of his family at all. And here's the cutthroat part: Harry knows exactly how much Charles longs to know them.
In September. Or maybe they just have to get money because they don't want... He doesn't want Meghan to have a lowly standard of living. it's got to be very high, and he wants to have money. He wants to have money.
And Harry's using that longing as leverage. Palace aides say the message is crystal clear. If you want the grandkids, you play ball. That could mean offering security arrangements, loosening icy protocols, maybe even restoring some kind of formal recognition for Harry and Meghan. But here's the twist. Charles has hit his limit. The public's starting to see it too. Commentators have noticed how Harry and Meghan carefully roll out the kids. A birthday picture here, a black and white snap there, always perfectly staged, always media ready.
Very useful, adding lots of things as well as actually making them up. And
Yet when it comes to letting the children see their royal family, the door stays firmly shut. For a couple who claim they fled to protect their kids' privacy, they sure know how to use that privacy as a publicity bargaining chip. The palace calls it manipulation. The public calls it tragic. Charles calls it something worse, the loss of his chance to truly be a grandfather. And Meghan, behind that polished PR perfect smile, insiders whisper about a far more calculated side, one that's apparently recorded in ink. Sources claim Meghan wrote obsessively. State dinners, tense meetings, pillow talk with Harry, confrontations with senior royals, all allegedly logged in meticulous detail.
That he will release another autobiography. You might call this Spare 2.0, or as I've branded it, Spare Us, if the royal family doesn't give in to his demands for reconciliation. Now, of course, we've seen the pressure that the mainstream media is heaping on.
One insider even swears Meghan documented every slight, every look, every insult. That diary isn't just sentimental, it's her insurance policy. And with brand deals drying up, Netflix cooling, and her podcast dreams going up in smoke, it might be her next payday. Publishers reportedly are circling. They don't want recipes or motivational speeches. They want the royal tell-all. Imagine The Crown, but raw and from Meghan's own pen. She hasn't confirmed it exists, but she hasn't denied it either. And that silence? That's power. Still, with the Oprah interview now fact-checked into oblivion and some past claims unraveling under scrutiny, the big question remains. If Meghan publishes it, will it be truth, spin, or pure strategy? Spotify pulled the plug, with one exec famously branding the Sussexes grifters. Her Netflix project Pearl? Cancelled. Her brand? Overexposed, yet under-delivering, and worst of all, slipping into that Hollywood death zone. Boring. PR consultants whisper she's now too risky. Deals that once came with champagne are now ghosted over email. Even celebrities who once name-dropped her are dodging her calls. The American public, once sympathetic, is turning skeptical. Her contradictions, her constant victimhood, and her overly polished truth-telling are wearing thin. And then there's Montecito optics. It's hard to cry oppression from a palace-sized pool. Even her famous friends are quietly stepping back. In Hollywood, nobody wants to become collateral damage in someone else's messy redemption arc. For a moment, it seemed like Harry and Meghan had cracked the code. That $100 million Netflix deal was supposed to be their golden ticket, their platform to tell their story, maybe even overshadow the royals they left behind. But instead, it's starting to look like a slow fade. The Harry and Meghan docuseries? Sure, it made noise, but it didn't have the staying power Netflix wanted. Their other promised projects? Mostly vapor. Meetings with Netflix have reportedly turned tense. Deadlines are slipping, budgets questioned, and at least one exec reportedly warned, you can't live off one docuseries forever. With renewal talks looming, the Sussexes could find themselves on thin ice. And this time, they don't have any crown jewels to bargain with. Their content empire was built on being close to the monarchy. That was the hook. But after burning every bridge and exhausting every juicy anecdote, what's left? California sunsets and yoga poses? Without fresh royal drama, Netflix isn't just low on content, it's losing interest entirely. The brutal truth? Hollywood came for royalty, not filler. And now Netflix is realizing it signed up for California lifestyle fluff when it really wanted palace intrigue. For years, King Charles tried to play peacemaker, swallowing his pride through Spare, through Oprah, through the Netflix circus. He bit his tongue, opened doors, even kept some quiet financial lifelines going. But this latest round, the king's done. He's had enough of the public threats, the subtle and not so subtle media bombs, and the behind-the-scenes begging disguised as healing the rift. According to palace insiders, Charles has decided Harry isn't acting like a son anymore. He's acting like a client, and not a very loyal one. The quiet financial top-ups, gone. The luxury travel perks, gone. No more taxpayer-funded extras or hush-hush trust arrangements. Advisors have been told no more funds outside what's legally required. Privately, Charles is said to be heartbroken. He had held out hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be mended for the sake of the grandchildren. But Harry's recent moves from spare 2.0 whispers to the emotional hostage taking over Archie and Lilibet have hardened his heart. And now, the king is sending a message, not just to Harry, but to the entire monarchy. The crown will not be emotionally extorted. The gates are closed, the coffers are sealed, and no matter how many times Harry knocks or Meghan threatens to light a match, the crown isn't moving. The message from Buckingham Palace is simple. The era of Harry and Meghan's royal leverage is over. Royal leverage is over.